Cool. So it looks like we're moving on to number ones. What is your number one?
Yeah. Couldn't be picking a different movie, which I love. But my number one is The Out of Towners from 1999, starring Steve Martin, Goldie Hawn, directed by Sam Weisman. The quick log line: the remake of the 1970s Neil Simon comedy follows the adventures of married couple Henry and Nancy Clark as they are vexed by misfortune while in New York City for a job interview. So this is a silly movie in many, many ways. I put this movie as my number one for what I said earlier, which is that my mom is a laugh out loud person.
Mm-hmm.
When I think of my mom, that's what I think of the first, which is she is able to crack up and see the lighter side of life. She is the one sitting in movie theaters laughing out loud where people staring at us and me and my sister kind of dunking in our chairs that nope, not with her. And I could have put any Steve Martin movie, but there are few people in our household which are sort of in that hall of fame, if you will, of people who can make my mom laugh and really all of us laugh. I think Steve Martin is in there, and Goldie Hawn is sort of in that company as well. So that's why this movie is in there. But I think as I've like with Howard Zen, as I watched this movie over and over again, initially the entry point was just the fact that it's funny and it's Steve Martin. But I think as I watched it over and over again, it's really been, to me, striking to note that this is really a Goldie Hawn movie.
Yeah.
And it is this movie of a woman, and we've been talking a lot about strength of a woman and a strength of a mom. And I think this movie once again shows that in a very different way where, she has a lot of agency, and she, even though is sad because she's an empty nester and her kids have moved out, she wants to reclaim life, and she has this verve and zeal for living life, large, versus her husband has sort of he's been left behind a little bit. He's caught in the rut, doesn't really know what to do with himself or with the two of them. And so much of this movie is about Goldie Hawn taking charge for herself, but then ultimately for their marriage as well. And I see my mom in her a lot, where on the surface, if somebody met my mom, of course, they would be struck by, her personality, her beauty, her fun-loving nature, her, intellect and such. But they may not realize how strong and determined and willed she is. And I think that's sort of what I see in Goldie Hawn as well. Like if you met her, she might come across that, oh, here's like a fun-loving, cute person. But there's so much more going on beneath the surface, and you see that on display. Like Goldie Hawn is up to heroics in this movie, has like a fearless kind of attitude towards her, while Steve Martin is second guessing himself all the time, even though he's coming from a place of being more organized and doing the right thing, being more adult. And someone might say that Goldie is probably being a little bit childlike, but I think that's sort of the beauty of life sometimes, that the childlike wonder and kind of just going for it is actually what being strong is sometimes. And you need to be that way. You can't just succumb to the plan all the time and, knowing all the time what life should have been. You have to take chances. You have to kind of grab life where you meet it at. And I think that's what she does. And I think my mom is very much like that. But all that aside, it's a very funny movie. Their chemistry is amazing. It's a great New York movie. I just think the plot is so great, like a simple one-liner plot, but you can throw so much at it. There's a lot in there that probably could be tighter and, could be even funnier, but I'm willing to overlook all of that. It's a great movie to rewatch on any night, really. So if people haven't watched this movie, I highly encourage it. And I actually find it better than the original movie. But that's just me.
Cool. Yeah, I've never seen the original movie before, though I'm a big Neil Simon fan. Just had not seen it. Actually, this is a movie too that I had not seen. I remembered when it came out, it was very poorly reviewed, and it bombed really badly. So I remember being like, uh-oh, is this good? Not good for Steve Martin, who was a huge fan of Steve Martin. So I kind of avoided the movie. And then every time I would see it, I'd be like, oh yeah, that was that movie that was poorly reviewed and kind of bombed. But I have to say, I liked it. I don't know why it was very like attacked by the critics. Like it's fun and enjoyable. And like Steve Martin's great in it. John Cleese, who's basically doing a Faulty Towers throwback kind of thing, was really fun in it. And Goldie Hawn, who I agree with you actually, that she really is kind of the main character. And it's kind of her story of a mom but this is what and also because we were watching this for the Mother's Day, I was very, closely paying attention to like the mom themes. But I think the strongest part of this film is her arc she's an empty nester. She defined herself once she had kids by the fact that she was a mom. She was working with Steve Martin, and then she like left their business to raise their kids. Now the kids are off at college and gone. And she's like, well, now what my life is meaningless. I have nothing to do. What am I supposed to do? And then she struggles with that through the entire film. And at least what I got away from the end of the movie was once she realized that, because she needed to be needed by the kids, right? She was even doing some things on the side of like helping them out in ways that like giving them the credit card, and Steve Martin was mad. Why? Oh, I just want to help my kids and, be needed for them. But when she realized at the end of the movie that Steve Martin basically needs her, like he is a total, like he's kind of a child at the end. He can't, he literally, there's a scene where she's like dressing him, like he can't take care of him. He can't do the big, like the big meeting or whatever. And I feel like that at the end of this movie, when she realized, oh, like I can be basically a mom to my husband, and he's kind of the kid, and I can now fulfill myself as a mother with my own husband in a way. Like then is satisfied and is then excited about what her life can take in this new stage. I felt this movie was fun. I wish I had seen it back when it came out, just because I think I would have enjoyed it back then. The only part that aged really poorly was Rudy Giuliani shows up. So trigger warning for that. Yeah. I almost like passed out when I saw it. It's so disgusting. But beyond that, I recommend this movie for people like me that remember this being a notorious bomb and a flop. Check it out. It's funny. It's good.
Really fun.
It's fun.
I didn't take that away from it. I mean, maybe that's the part of it that she can take care of him, but that's not a sole agency. I sort of think that this person, as in Goldie Hawn's character, I don't think she ever had the time or the agency to kind of fully explore what life has to offer. And I think this trip really brought out her, like I was saying earlier, her verve and a zeal for life. And the fact that she is probably been playing by the books so far, just, doing what you have to do as a mother and such. But I think she unlocked something in herself that she is a risk taker and she wants to try different things and have fun in life. So I think to me, that's the big takeaway. So my wish for her is that I hope she goes on many such trips solo or with her husband or with her friends, maybe finds a new career, which she does have a career by the end of the movie. But
right.
My hope is that she maybe takes over at that business where she's just playing probably second fiddle to her husband. Maybe she becomes the primary or quits that and does something else because she just has more to offer, which I think so much of that part gets lost in our societies because being a mom is the biggest and toughest job you can possibly have.
Right.
But there's so much more that often there isn't much time for moms to explore. So I just love that you get to see that in this movie, that she got to explore that. And I just think Goldie Hawn is just so brilliant at it. Like there are not many people who can play that kind of effortlessness with intelligence. Effortlessness and fun is often ditzy and silly.
Right.
But she's anything but silly. I don't think we have a person or ever had an actress like that before. So such a fan.
Yeah, she does a great job in the film. Definitely. Again, the people that stayed away from it for the same reasons I was avoiding it, check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. Hey there, it's Alex. If you like the review and discussion Karan and I just had, make sure you subscribe to our channel, Movies That Shaped Us, to get full episodes. Every other Wednesday, Karan and I cover a topic around important people, places, events, and moments in our lives, and then explore it through 3 of our favorite movies. Subscribe right now or follow our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts via the link in the description below. Hope you join us for the journey.